So I'm delighted to be able to share this interdisciplinary collaborative project at TSA today. I will admit that I'm a bit self-conscious being on this panel in particular, as this project, while involving interfacing multiple disparate technologies, is definitely not what I would consider high-tech. My collaborator, Paula Matthusen, is a sound artist and composer working with feedback-based electronic music and field recordings. Unfortunately, she can't be here today, so I will present on behalf of both of us. This project, Between Systems and Grounds, began with a mutual interest in site-specific work and a curiosity about the percussive and sonic nature of bobbin lace, a historical technique that I've used in my studio practice for the past decade. We also share a deep interest in the space between clear and strong patterns and their variances. Between Systems and Grounds is a collaborative durational performance and installation project that creates a feedback loop between textile construction processes and feedback-based electronic music, two generative systems that are otherwise quite different in approach. This project connects these two systems through time, shared space, and a system of sonic and visual exchanges designed to produce an accumulation of interrelated sound and textile artifacts. The nature of both the sound and textile production is improvisational in approach, responding to atmospheric conditions and sounds, as well as an ongoing dialogue between these two generative systems. Shown on the left is my bobbin lace workspace, and on the right, one version of Paula's electronic setup, devised primarily of analog technologies that produce highly controlled feedback. Due to the nature of Paula's work within feedback-based music and field recordings, the specifics of the space we work in become an integral part of the work, both visually and sonically. Here's a space that we worked in the summer of 2016 as we were starting the project. The video here includes a stop-motion animation of a 3-hour durational performance, while the audio is a time-compressed recording of approximately 1 hour. 1 hour of the performance. So there, in the video, you can hear also some of the specifics of the exterior sounds as well as some of the interior sounds and my working sounds. I realized I actually, as far as the microphone systems go, we are often working across usually an interior microphone, also miking the exterior space in different ways, as well as my work surface is also using a microphone as well, and I'll get more into that, but I'm thinking the relationship between the interior and exterior space becomes really important within this work. So some of the specific elements we've chosen to work with also become interrelated through our use of them and the integration into our shared system. On the left is a small sample of the rose grounds that are the backbone of the textile structure that is utilized in this project. The fabric itself is 12 units wide, referencing the 6-switch matrix switcher, a piece of analog technology that Paula brought into her electronic arsenal specifically for this project. Each pair of my 12 cells can reference the on-off capabilities of the matrix switcher and also is used in our music box device that controls the playback of a series of recordings. Within the project, there are multiple modes of dialogue and feedback between these two systems. The sound impacts the textile pattern, the movement of the bobbins triggers both a series of time-compressed recordings and a stream of data, which is then fed back into the textile pattern. Ultimately, the textile produced within the project is slowly read by a series of photocells that trigger the playback of previously recorded sessions. During the live performance, the sounds are developed slowly through intentionally created feedback made with a series of microphones and electroacoustic systems. As the sounds change and develop, the beginning of a new musical idea triggers a change in the patterning or an intentional run created in the fabric. So here you can see a detail of the fabric with some of the different pattern changes and interruption. The audio sample that I'm starting to play right now is a real-time audio output from the project. Notice the noises specific to the time and place of the performance, including rain and thunder, along with the sounds of the working bobbins. So another mode of exchange between the two systems takes place through a contact mic that triggers each impact of the bobbin on the foam core work surface and triggers a micro recording, cumulatively creating a time-compressed recording varying in length from 10 seconds to a minute per hour of work. Here's a little bit of an excerpt of one of those time-compressed recordings. So similar in sound to the video. Along with the micro-recordings, the data stream is produced from the timing of the bobbin movements. You can see that stream of numbers as it comes out of the system along the bottom of the screen here. This stream of data is then brought back into the textile structure, albeit very slowly. With hundreds of points per session, the data accumulates dramatically faster than the textile can be constructed, leaving an ever-increasing pile of accumulated data. This is certainly something that is actually still in process. I'm trying to find some ways to actually have that become visible in the project. It's one of our next steps. So here the data is getting interpreted back into the textile design, taken on a 5-point average, and then translated into centimeters of cell height. Ultimately, the textile itself functions as a musical score or scroll with a motor slowly pulling the fabric over a matrix of 12 photo cells, triggering the playback of recordings of previous sessions, which are then ultimately reincorporated into future improvisations. Currently, we're adapting this playback system to be linked to specific locations and recordings within the fabric through a series of switches. So each segment of the fabric that was made in a certain place would then be triggered in the playbacks from that place in a standalone installation, or also as part of the feedback system. So this is a detail of the bridge that contains these photo cells. So ultimately, this project exists within two different modes. One of active performance and also a passive installation and playback system. All the components are made of lightweight foam board that allows the project to be easily modified and transported, while also acting as a workspace and a resonance system for the project. There's a motor that is programmed to pull the textile score very slowly over the photocells, mimicking the slow speed at which the textile is produced, though ultimately still running many times faster than the speed of the actual lace production. The photocells that are part of the project's bridge are then wired into a series of Arduino microcontrollers and a wave trigger panel that store and playback audio files produced by the project, amplified through transducers that use the foam core construction of the project as speakers fit the installation system. This is an example of the project in installation mode, with the fabric moving imperceptibly slowly across the photocells, triggering the playback of the time-compressed files that have then actually been drawn back out in length and changed in volume with different sensors. Ultimately, this project is ongoing. We don't necessarily have a fixed endpoint for it. And I don't, this is moving so slowly, I always feel a little funny showing a video of it. It's a little hard to watch. Certainly in person, you can, after spending about 30 seconds to a minute with it, you can tell that the fabric is indeed moving. We wanted it to be perceptible, but not clearly moving at high speed. So I would say, actually, at the time of this video, it took maybe 45 minutes to go from one end of the fabric to the other. It's since gotten quite a bit longer, so we might now be at, did it jump back to the beginning? But it may, it's probably up to about an hour and a half of playtime now on the fabric scroll. So the last two pieces of documentation were all from an exhibition last fall at Acre Projects in Chicago as part of an exhibition called Hand Eye. Since then, we've done several more iterations of the project. In February of this year, we took over a house at Wesleyan University on their campus, where Paula teaches, and involved graduate students and other faculty members in a weekend-long performance, incorporating our project with several other related projects, as well as cooking lots of cabbage soup for everyone to keep them in the house. So it really took place over 2.5 days or so, where we were working on our project interspersed with other things. And that seemed to be a very comfortable way to move forward with this as something that is ambient and durational in approach. So did I skip over? There we are. And so this past summer we did 2 more, I guess, residencies of sorts, producing new material and making some headway on new components in the project, including the location-based playback. On the left is a still from an afternoon-long performance in a spring house on the grounds of the Hambidge Center in Raboon Gap, Georgia. And on the right is an image from a 3-day residency that we did at the Caramore Festival in Cortona, New York, where we were part of a Sonic Arts Festival, as well as having our own, I would say, more private performances where we were just working on the project after hours. But most excitingly, we have a new output coming out this fall. The project will be released as an album with Carrier Records. It'll be 12 tracks going back and forth between the real-time recordings and the time-compressed versions. It will be available both as a digital download and an audio cassette, so we're low-tech in that way. There, the thinking being in part the sort of tracklessness of it, and also the relationship to the actual machine that I'm making, where we have the lace as a tape of sorts with pick-up and take-up reels. So look for that in November of 2018. We also have developed a pretty extensive documentation website, which will be live in a few weeks at betweensystemsandgrounds.com. As I've been thinking about our symposium here and the themes therein, certainly this is a location-based project that gets really into specific details of the place, but also is quite mobile and global in approach as well. So we've covered about 10 different locations to date, and we'll be continuing to add to that as we go along, and that's fully documented on our website. And additionally, because certainly no project occurs within a vacuum, we've had a number of people help us in a variety of different ways, and so we did certainly want to thank these folks. Thank you very much.